Hello friends and welcome. I am Jazz, and if you are a returning viewer slash subscriber, welcome back. Thank you very much. And if you are new here, please take a moment to subscribe. The button is down below. It takes a couple of seconds and it doesn't hurt you, but it helps me. So that would be nice. Please. Pardon me if I'm gonna be all over the place. I can already foretell the future that I'm going to be, because I always am. I understand that this is the internet. I understand that this is YouTube. And I understand that drama happens on the internet and the YouTube. I would greatly appreciate if we could keep the negativity and drama very, very low. I once upon a time had a friend. We got into it because of this, because of paranormal stuff. I'm making this video for entertainment purposes because this is a very interesting topic. I personally know very many people, if not everybody that I know, that is interested in the paranormal. So I am just solely doing this to create an outlet to create more relationships, friendships, spark more conversations because the pandemic. So with that being said, if you have ever experienced anything paranormal, please leave it down below in the comment section so I can respond to you and we can have chit chats about this, and so other people can respond and have chit chats about that and try and keep the negativity to a minimum but still chit chat, and we'll all be great. Also, for the purpose of this video, I will be saying, and I'm not going to be going too much into the topic, that I am agnostic. I basically don't really believe in a religion. I don't really know what I believe in at the moment. I have some things that I believe in and I have some things that I don't believe in. And, and it's just, please don't push your religion onto other people. We're gonna start with 2013. I was fresh out of high school. It was my first job. I didn't really have too much of an experience at this place. It was really just little things like I would see mist kind of floating out of the corner of my eye, or sometimes it would be right in front of me and just kind of appear and then just kind of dance around and then just kind of vanish. I would get a lot of deja vu working there, which it didn't really happen a lot at home. It was mostly just at work, which at a scientific standpoint, I can kind of see how maybe stress and exhaustion could lead to stuff like that. But this is a paranormal video. We're gonna talk about the fact that it was probably paranormal. And I know what people are thinking though with the whole mist is Jazz, you worked in a restaurant and there's hot food everywhere. You probably just saw the smoke from the food. This was not food smoke. This was just disgusting, unscented, white bleh. Okay, I am not even joking right now. Legit getting the heebie-jeebies. It sounds like there's footsteps, and I'm kind of hoping I picked it up on camera. My coworkers and managers would talk about how they sometimes would see strange mists or shadows. The craziest thing that happened to me there was my coworker and I were at the hostess stand. This is the stand, and I'm over here and she's over here. And we're just kind of chatting, back and forth to each other. And all of a sudden, this crayon randomly fell from the sky. She and I looked at each other and we were completely freaked out. We were just like, what the heck just happened? First, we thought it was our coworkers or even our manager, but I looked around and there was nobody. I looked under the tables, I looked everywhere, and I was just okay, there was no one. It was a pretty slow time, so we didn't really have too many customers in the building. So I was just okay, I don't know what the hell just happened. But fast forward, I started that company in 2015, and it is a retail company. So I'm a very shy person. I don't talk to a lot of people. I have people anxiety, so I can't be around too many people or I'll start to just kind of panic. And at the time, this coworker was like the only person I could really talk to, and he was actually the first person that I had a full-on conversation with. You know, I would say hi to the other people, but I could just easily carry a conversation with him. So he became my best friend and eventually my boyfriend. So yeah. So, you know, one of the conversations that I kind of first had with my now boyfriend, ex-coworker, current boyfriend, was about paranormal stuff. You know, I asked him, hey, have you ever had strange experiences here? And he just kind of like looked at me and was just like, oh, like ghosts and stuff. He described a bunch of stuff, like literally everything he was describing was stuff that like I've experienced in the store, without me having to tell him, hey, I experienced this, have you? One of the things that we were like most known for was it would smell like old man cologne in certain departments and in like certain areas, and it would be in the same area at the same time on like different days, and we could go like days, weeks without smelling it, and then all of a sudden it would just appear again. And so, you know, at a skeptic's point of view, I would say, oh, it was just maybe somebody wearing cologne rubbed up on the clothes and like it lasted on the clothes. But it was just kind of weird how it would literally be that way for like a couple of years on and off the same spot and the same smell just kind of appearing like out of nowhere. It's whack, right? Another thing that I've experienced is also like the same kind of like mist. I would have this really strange, strong feeling to just be like, oh, like look up. And I would like look straight ahead, and out of nowhere, like mist would kind of appear from like the ground almost and like sway. It would be like a thick, like a white mist. It would sway and then just kind of like dissipate. I'd be looking at something and then my eyes would kind of like have to like reset itself. I'm sure there's a natural explanation for all these eye problems or like eye situations, but I mean, you know, this is a paranormal video. I sometimes would see these, and it still happened to me right up before we left for quarantine. It would be almost like a figure, but it would be completely see-through, but it would be as if like, I can't even explain it, like almost like there was like an outline of a person, so you could see through them, but it was like a see-through shadow. Like, I don't know if that makes sense. It would look like a figure like moving, and like I could make out like a person clear, and I'm just like, okay, that's probably just my brain tricking me. Or is it the eyes tricking the brain? I think it's both. Anyways, let's see. I had a few coworkers tell me their experiences. This is what they've seen, so I just want to kind of briefly go over it. So I had one girl tell me that she's seen a round rack start spinning like out of nowhere. There's reports of like hangers moving on their own, or like just hearing the sound of hangers moving when like nobody's really in the building, and you pretty much have like all eyes on all the other employees, usually like at closing time or like when we come in early mornings. We've had people like see figures moving up the stairs because we're a 2-story building, and we would have people say that they've like seen like people walking up the stairs, like full-on figures walking up the stairs, and it would be caught in the what is this? The video recorder, the camera. Security camera would capture the employee reacting to nothing there. Sometimes I hear like the sound of a gurney in the fitting room. And if you don't know what a gurney is, it's just basically that like bed that they put the person onto before they wheel them into the ambulance, or if they're like inside the hospital on the little like bed with the wheels, like that. Like I would hear like a sound of a gurney, and that's terrifying. There was one time we had a power outage throughout the entire store, and I flipped out because I was in the back of the store pretty much by myself, and then I started to hear like the gurney sound, like the wheels, and I was by myself. I literally screamed and I like ran to go find somebody because not dealing with that by myself. Nope. We had a remodel, but before then, we used to have like actual doors on the fitting rooms. Now they're just curtains. And there used to be this one fitting room door way in the back corner where nobody would really go. So sometimes we used it for storage. And there would always be this one handprint that would drive me absolutely insane. And it was like this giant handprint, like just there and then kind of like slid down so you could see the fingers. And I've cleaned it multiple times and the stain would come back all the freaking time. There was one time, I was pretty new to the company, so we used to have to enter in through the back way, and there were like these big double doors that you would walk through, and then it would walk you through a hallway and it would lead you to the door of the store. I went up to the door and I like rang the doorbell and I was waiting for somebody to come and open it for me. So I'm sitting there waiting and I'm like, alrighty, like it's almost time, like I'm gonna be late. And I could hear people inside the fitting room because the door would lead to like our fitting room. And I could hear people talking. And I'm like thinking to myself, like, oh my God, like, hello, like, and I'm like ringing the doorbell, ring the doorbell. Why is nobody coming? Like, you hear me, like, I'm gonna be late. And I was like kind of panicking because I'm like, I don't wanna be late. And I rang it a couple more times and I'm sitting there and I keep hearing like the laughing. And then it just kind of like stopped. And then a couple minutes later, here comes everybody else, the whole morning team from around the corner where I had walked through to get to the doors, and they're walking in, and I flipped out because I was just like, wait, are there any managers inside? And the opening manager was like, no, like I'm the opening manager, there shouldn't be anybody inside. And so they let us in, and there was nobody in the building. I just heard laughing and chatting, and I freaked out. I almost didn't want to go in, but I told the manager and I was like, oh my God, like things. So I just heard like talking and everything, and I was like being manic, and they were just like, calm down, like it's fine, things happen all the time. We have wire hangers on our adult clothing because we do carry children's clothing as well. So there was one time where we were closing, everybody was already upstairs getting ready to clock out for the day, and there was me and this one other girl, and we had a bunch of like go backs, like a handful that we were running. And so we went to the kids department, and then we were walking back through our ladies department, and we were like laughing. I forgot, I think it was, I don't remember what we were laughing about, but we were just laughing. And then we hear like the hangers, like it sounded like they were moving, like it wasn't just like it was like somebody was looking through the hangers, and we looked at each other and we just like, we're like, oh my God. And we ran upstairs where everybody was. So there was nobody downstairs at that moment. So yeah, that was kind of also terrifying. There was one time, this was more of the most recent happenings. There was a little boy playing on the stairs, and the parents were like, all right, like, come on, we're gonna go downstairs now. And the little boy, who was maybe about 7 years old or so, was just like, no, mommy, I don't want to go downstairs. There's a portal up here. He pointed to like one of the corners, and I panicked. And again, like, it's a kid, so it's not like, oh my God, it's a ghost 100%, but they do say that kids are more in tune with it, and the fact that this kid was just like, there's a portal. Yeah. I used to have a coworker that actually told me that she sees the man that's upstairs in the men's department. He's an older gentleman, and she described him, and she said that she sees him and he's talked to her and said her name before. We've had a couple other older employees that are no longer with us, with the company. They're still alive, I think. They would always talk about how they've heard their name called too, and how they would also see a man. So I don't know if that's just like mass hysteria or whatever, but it's spooky. Our manager experienced the safe closing on it, like by itself, and then like the lights went out like right after. That's terrifying. And last but not least, because I'm pretty sure that more has happened, I just can't remember them, I'm going to end it with the juiciest story of all. Like I said, we went through a remodel. Well, every night there would be a security guard coming in to just make sure that nobody would be messing with like the construction zone or anything like that. Every night before everybody would leave for the day, the manager would have to let the security guard in. And the security guard wasn't there by the time we were supposed to leave. So he was like, oh, hey, everybody can clock out, like I'll wait for the security guard, but managers aren't allowed to stay in the building by themselves. So he had to have somebody stay with him, and I volunteered because I'm a teacher's pet, and I was like, sure, like I'll clean more, I don't know, sounds fun. Plus he told me that I would have to clock out and I would still be getting paid. So I was like, heck yeah, like of course I'm gonna stay. So everybody had gone home, so it was just me and him, and we were sitting in the break room just chatting when we heard this like really loud like bang, like a door closing, and I jumped out of my chair. I freaked out. I was panicking. I told my boyfriend, and he called me because he knew that I had really bad experiences at that time. Yeah, at home, I was experiencing really crazy stuff. He called me and wanted to make sure that I was okay, and so I was like, no, like I'm fine, it's okay, like I'm here with Matt. We went downstairs to check because he was like, shut up, it's probably just a security guard coming in. And I was like, okay. So I went downstairs with him, and our lights for the store are on a timer, so they turn off at a certain time. And when we were coming up to clock out for the day, the lights were already off. So when we went downstairs and we saw the lights were on, I was like panicking because I'm like, what the hell is going on? We went upstairs and we were talking again. Then the real spook happened. So we were sitting on the break room tables again talking when I heard this really loud like just bang like on our wall. So it was like right, so here's like the wall, and then like our table was like right here, so you can't see that. There we go. Here's the wall and like here's the table. So we heard the bang and I screamed and I was like, what was that? Oh my god, like I need to go out and make sure it wasn't a fixture. For those of you who don't work retail, a fixture is basically like shelving, or if you ever see like the racks on like there's like a bar and it's like hanging on them in the wall. Those are fixtures. They come out so we can move them around. So I thought, okay, maybe like a shelf had fallen. I went out and he was like, oh, like I'm not going out there to protect you. And I was like, oh, okay. And I went to go look. The lights were still off in men's, so I had my flashlight and I was looking around. Nothing. There was nothing. So I was like, oh, well, if I'm out here, I might as well just clean again because I'm getting paid. Might as well just keep cleaning. So I went around and I was checking all the tables, making sure they were nicely folded because fairies don't do that. We do that, and we would greatly appreciate if you would not mess up the tables like really terribly because it takes forever to fix the tables. So please. So I was fixing the tables and I just kind of like started talking out loud, and I was like, oh, like in a sing-songy, like, oh, if anybody's here, like, hello, like, please don't hurt me, like, you know, I'm just here, I'm cleaning, blah, 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 and I was like talking to them to kind of make myself feel better. And I had this really strong urge to like look up. And so like all the lights started to turn on slowly, which again, they're on a timer. They shouldn't have been doing that. And the lights started turning on and I was like panicking and I was like, oh my God, what the hell is happening? And when I looked up, there was this one light that just kind of spotlight right on me and was just like turning on and blaring in my face. And I'm pretty sure that was just the anxiety making it worse than what it actually was, but I panicked. And so I got out of that area and I started walking towards the cash register, make sure everything was clean there, make sure all the hangers were clean. And then I went to the accessories and I was checking all the accessories to make sure that they were clean. And when I turned to look, there was this one bracelet that I watched started moving back and forth shaking, and everything else around it was fine. So it wasn't the air, and there is no air conditioner in that area. So I don't know what that was, but it just started shaking and then it just stopped. And that's when I was like, it's not worth it. So I went back and I sat with my manager, and then luckily the security guard came shortly after, and that was probably the worst experience I've ever had at that store to this date. I 100% believe that there is something in the store that I'm currently working at. You know, we've heard stories on how like there was a construction accident where our store sits on and all that stuff. But I mean, I do believe, I'm not a huge skeptic. I do believe that a lot of it can be debunked by science. But then again, there are things that are just really paranormal. Like we have no way to explain like how or why these are happening. So with that being said, thank you so much for watching and for listening. Again, if you have any experiences, please leave them in the comment section below so we can chat about it and have a great old paranormal party. And I think that would be really fun. Yeah, thank you again for watching, and subscribe and thumbs up this video. And say bye, Henry. Okay, bye. Okay, we're gonna go now. Bye guys, thank you, stay safe, and have a great time, and I will see you later. Mwah. Here is my spooky thing that will foretell the future. Are we going to have a good time? We are going to have a good time. Good night.